Could you be the guest I was expecting? I have something crucial to discuss with you. Please, can you spare a moment? As I was about to step into the restaurant, a woman in chef's attire, looking visibly anxious, approached me. Initially, I assumed she wanted to confirm something about my meal, but what she revealed left me utterly stunned. My name is Cheryl Ruth, and I'm a 33-year-old advertising professional. My career is demanding yet deeply fulfilling as I strive to create meaningful advertisements. I met my husband, Brian, at work. He's a year older than me, and we've been married for a year now. With 2 incomes, we share household responsibilities seamlessly, supporting each other and managing our busy lives. Our early interactions were strictly professional, but over time, we grew closer through personal conversations and discovered shared interests and values. It wasn't long before I developed feelings for him. Fearing we might drift apart once our joint project ended, I mustered the courage to confess my feelings. Despite my anxiety, Brian reciprocated, and we began dating. A year later, he proposed, and we got married. Before our wedding, Brian opened up about his past. He had been married before, but the union ended due to incompatible values. Though he carried some regrets about his first marriage, I understood his hesitations and reassured him that his history didn't define our future. My desire was to build a life with him, and I wholeheartedly accepted his past. Our married life has been a joy. We moved into an apartment conveniently located near our workplaces, and Brian's parents, who live nearby, have been incredibly supportive. Initially, I worried about potential conflicts living so close to my in-laws, but they've always been welcoming and kind, making our transition to married life smooth. Balancing work and personal time can be a challenge. On weekdays, our interactions are often limited to brief conversations over dinner. However, we make the most of our weekends, with cooking becoming one of our favorite activities. It's a necessity, too, given my dietary restrictions. I have a severe allergy to fruits in the Rosaceae family: strawberries, apples, pears, and peaches. The allergy developed unexpectedly in adulthood, starting with a terrifying reaction to strawberries that left me struggling to breathe. After tests confirmed the allergy, I had to accept that many of my favorite fruits were off-limits. Dining out has since become a challenge. Even when I think a dish is safe, hidden ingredients can pose a threat. Just a trace of these fruits can cause severe reactions, making me hypervigilant about verifying ingredients. This constant caution sometimes makes dining out feel like a burden, so I've grown to prefer eating at home. Cooking has become a haven for me, a joyful, safe activity that allows me to relax and enjoy meals. Brian and his parents have been incredibly supportive. My mother-in-law, having cared for her father with a severe wheat allergy, understands the seriousness of my condition. She took the time to learn about my dietary needs, ensuring every meal we shared was safe for me. "You shouldn't have to worry during meals. I'll make sure everything is safe for you," she once assured me, a gesture that nearly brought me to tears. Over time, I've developed a wonderful relationship with my in-laws, especially my mother-in-law, who treats me like her own daughter. Her empathy and efforts have made managing my allergies much less stressful. One memorable day, I received a promotion at work for spearheading a successful project proposal. It was a proud moment, made even sweeter when I returned home to celebrate with Brian and my in-laws. Their unwavering support has been a cornerstone of my happiness, both at work and in my personal life. I shared the exciting news of my promotion with my family, and they were all thrilled, especially my mother-in-law. To celebrate, she suggested we dine at an upscale restaurant located in a luxurious hotel, a place I had dreamed of visiting since my student days. Though excited, I hesitated. The restaurant's grandeur, coupled with my dietary restrictions, made me uneasy. "You don't have to hold back, it's such a joyous occasion. Let me treat you," she insisted, her excitement evident. Her enthusiasm warmed my heart, but my concerns lingered. Before my allergy diagnosis, I had browsed the restaurant's website and fantasized about trying their famous fruit-filled tart. Unfortunately, the restaurant frequently used fruits from the Rosaceae family in their dishes, which made me nervous. In the past, we always informed staff of my allergies in advance, but I couldn't shake the guilt of asking for special accommodations. We typically chose restaurants that rarely used such fruits to avoid any risk. Even though this restaurant could prepare allergen-free dishes, the potential for cross-contamination in a kitchen that regularly handled those ingredients felt daunting. Initially, I leaned towards caution, preferring to celebrate somewhere I could relax without fear. However, my mother-in-law's persistence and reassurance swayed me. "Don't worry, I'll let them know about your allergies when I make the reservation. I also happen to know someone there, they'll take extra care of us," she said confidently. Her connection to the restaurant surprised me, as she'd never mentioned it before. Coupled with her thoughtful approach, I began to feel more at ease. When I discussed it with my husband, he was just as surprised by her connection, but reassured knowing they'd be well informed. "It's a celebration of your success, make sure to enjoy yourself," he encouraged with a smile. His support, along with my mother-in-law's enthusiasm, finally convinced me to embrace the occasion. The lunch was scheduled for a weekday, so I took a half-day off from work. After completing my morning tasks, I dressed in a more formal outfit than usual, paying extra attention to my appearance. My colleagues noticed and wished me a wonderful time when they learned about my plans. When I arrived at the hotel, my mother-in-law was already waiting for me. Together, we made our way to the restaurant on the first floor. Thanks to her reservation, we were promptly escorted to our table, though we were informed of a slight delay due to the busy lunch hour. Understanding the popularity of the place, I decided to start with just drinks and wait patiently. Relaxed after finishing work and enjoying the warm company of my mother-in-law, I felt ready to make this celebration memorable. I ordered champagne, and my mother-in-law and I enjoyed delightful conversation, savoring the elegance of the restaurant. The ambience, paired with the superior taste of the champagne, heightened my spirits. Although I'd had champagne before, the glass I sipped that day felt special, perhaps because of the celebration or the allure of finally being in a place I had admired for years. As we chatted, the tantalizing dishes being served to nearby tables only added to my anticipation for our meal. However, just as I began to settle into the moment, my phone rang from inside my bag. I hadn't turned it off, and seeing it was a call from work, a sudden wave of sobriety replaced my joy. Worried it might be urgent, I excused myself and stepped outside the restaurant to take the call in private, ensuring I could address any sensitive matters without disruption. Thankfully, the issue was minor. My colleague needed clarification on a document I had submitted earlier. Relieved it wasn't an error, I quickly provided the answers they needed. Just as I was about to hang up, an unfamiliar woman approached me. "Excuse me, are you the customer who made the reservation for today's meal?" she asked, dressed as a chef. She looked rushed and slightly breathless, her expression laden with concern. Puzzled by her presence outside the kitchen during such a busy time, I nodded cautiously. Her next words sent a chill down my spine. "It's dangerous to return to the restaurant now. Please leave the hotel immediately and ensure your safety." Her intense demeanor and urgent tone left me stunned. Though I tried to seek further explanation, her insistence and the gravity of her warning made my blood run cold. Without fully understanding the situation but sensing genuine danger, I hailed a taxi and headed home. That evening, my phone rang again. It was my mother-in-law, and to my surprise, her tone was sharp and furious, unlike anything I had encountered from her before. "You just left without a word. Don't you have any manners? What kind of upbringing did you have?" she chastised, her voice dripping with anger. She was clearly embarrassed and upset that I had left abruptly, leaving her to handle the reserved special course alone. Her harsh words stung, and I realized the gravity of the misunderstanding. Yet what shocked me most was her lack of concern for my sudden departure. Instead of worrying about my well-being, she berated me relentlessly. "You've been silent this whole time. Don't you realize how wrong you were? You're not fit to be my son's wife," she raged. Her tirade even extended to criticizing my parents and how they had raised me. When she finally paused, I gathered the courage to speak. "You told me you informed the restaurant about my allergies when you made the reservation so I could relax. But the restaurant wasn't aware of my allergies. What happened?" Her silence was deafening. The truth was that the meal prepared for us that day contained ingredients I was severely allergic to, not only in the dessert but also in the main courses, hidden in marinades and sauces. The woman who approached me outside the restaurant had taken the reservation call from my mother-in-law and confirmed that no mention of my allergies had been made. She had noticed the allergy badge on my bag and decided to check on me just in case. If she hadn't warned me, I would have unknowingly consumed the food and suffered a severe allergic reaction. But the real revelation came next. The chef revealed that she was my husband's ex-wife, now working under the name Julia. Recognizing my mother-in-law and realizing I was her son's new wife, she intervened out of concern. Julia shared that my mother-in-law was notorious for her harsh behavior. During her marriage, Julia had lived with my husband's parents and endured relentless criticism from my mother-in-law, particularly when my husband or father-in-law wasn't around. Despite Julia's professional culinary skills, my mother-in-law found fault with everything she did, even discarding her dishes out of spite. Her account painted a starkly different picture of the woman I thought I knew. It wasn't just the sharp tone of my mother-in-law's phone call. It was the realization of her deliberate carelessness that shook me to my core. I had always seen my mother-in-law as a gentle and kind woman, but the events that unfolded revealed a very different side of her. The hostility she exhibited, hidden beneath a polished facade, forced me to reconsider the dynamics of my new family and how I should navigate these relationships going forward. Her true nature became more apparent as I uncovered her troubling history with Brian's ex-wife, Julia. After transitioning to a full-time housewife, Julia found herself financially dependent and under her mother-in-law's constant scrutiny. Trapped, isolated, and without evidence of her mistreatment, Julia eventually sought escape through divorce. Despite her lack of work experience, she leveraged her culinary training to build a career, rising through the ranks to become a skilled chef. However, her past resurfaced when my mother-in-law discovered her workplace and began demanding discounts under the guise of their connection. This pattern of manipulation hinted at a deep-seated behavior that extended to me. When I confronted my mother-in-law about failing to disclose my allergies during the restaurant reservation, she initially feigned ignorance, trying to shift the blame onto the staff. However, the restaurant's policy of recording calls meant her lie was easily exposed. Faced with the possibility of evidence, her composure shattered, and she confessed her resentment. "I despise how you outshine me. You deserve some pain," she admitted, her words cutting deeply. This shocking revelation made it clear that her envy had driven her to put my life at risk. To address the situation, I decided to involve my family and Brian. In the presence of my parents, we confronted her with the recorded evidence. When Brian heard her incriminating statements, he was furious. "I can't believe you would do this, Mom," he said, his voice tight with anger. Her desperate attempts to explain fell on deaf ears as Brian declared, "We're cutting ties. I don't even want to think of you as my mother anymore." The fallout was swift. Brian informed his father, who was equally enraged and decided to separate from her. Left with no support system, she was evicted from their home. Her husband, showing a final act of pity, paid for a small apartment's first month's rent and told her to fend for herself. However, she continued to cling to us, even barging into our house one day to demand money. Brian firmly sent her away, making it clear she was no longer welcome in our lives. Rumors later suggested she had taken a job at a local supermarket, struggling to adjust to her new circumstances. Despite everything, I hoped she would work diligently, not only to support herself, but also to reflect on her actions. For my part, I resolved to maintain firm boundaries to protect our family from her manipulations. In the aftermath, Brian reached out to Julia to apologize for not recognizing her suffering during their marriage. She assured him she had moved on, now happily dating someone else. Surprisingly, Julia and I became friends through this ordeal. As career-oriented women, we found common ground and mutual respect, unclouded by her past relationship with Brian. To celebrate my promotion and reaffirm their support, Brian and his father hosted a party in my honor. Their thoughtful gesture reminded me of the strength of our bond and my resolve to continue thriving, free from the shadows of my former mother-in-law's interference. The experience, though painful, ultimately strengthened my confidence and the foundation of our family.